All right. Hey, everybody. This is Jazz, Director of Strategy with Wayward Kind. I'm here with Kishonda.
I'm the copywriter here at Wayward Kind.
We just thought today would be a good day to kind of have an open dialogue and conversation with everything going on, especially as to um, Black women that work in marketing and work very closely with so many small businesses of different industries and sizes and regions. We're very greatly affected by what's going on, so we thought it'd be good to kind of have a conversation with each other and share it. I think a lot of people are concerned with how their Black employees are feeling or what they should be doing to support their Black employees. And we're here to hopefully, well, we can answer all questions. We know how we feel, so we can speak to how we feel, of course. But we hope to hopefully kind of guide everyone in the right direction to have some of these conversations to support their team through everything, because it's a lot going on right now. So that is the plan for today. Kishonda, I think you have some questions for us that we can kind of start talking through.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of wanted to first talk about what Black Lives Matter is about, and why it's been coming to a head right now, and how companies, especially companies that are in marketing, can support their Black employees, and how companies that are not just outside of, or like outside of marketing, can help their Black employees as well. So I just want to read a little something about like Black Lives Matter and where it came from. So it was founded in 2013. It was in response to the acquittal of Trayvon Martin's murderer. Black Lives Matter Foundation Incorporated is a global organization in the US, UK, and Canada, whose mission is to eradicate white supremacy and build local power to intervene in violence inflicted on Black communities by the state and vigilantes. And I think that this is important for people to understand, that when we say Black Lives Matter, we are not saying that we are inferior. We are not saying that we are better than another race. We are completely aware that all lives matter. But right now, the Black community and the Black people in the United States and around the world, we need support. And we just want to talk about how we can get there. So how can we start doing that? What is your take on that, Jess?
I think for one, it starts with conversation. So the unfortunate part about this is that I understand it's very uncomfortable to feel called out for not being as inclusive or accepting of people of different walks of life. I know it's very uncomfortable to feel like I'm someone who I don't have any prejudice. I'm not someone who has any biases. So
Right.
I'm sure it doesn't feel great, but that is just a part of it. It's a part of what comes with, the privilege of being in certain positions, of being white or in a position of power or authority. It's just responsibility that comes along with it. So you start by having to have those uncomfortable conversations to actually get the real feedback from your team. What I saw a lot of last week were a lot of organizations and companies who were putting out statements in support of Blackout Tuesday or Black Lives Matter, but their own team members are replying and saying things that that basically are saying they don't align with the statements you're putting out, and that's a problem. We can't say that we support. And I'm saying this as a Black woman that does the work that I do. We can't say that we support Black Lives Matter and Black people and these people from marginalized groups, and then not give them voices or not allow them in the room to have a voice in these conversations or to make these decisions. And I think that is part of what's so great about working here at Wayward Kind, is that when you look at our team, everyone on our team that comes from a different walk of life. We all have different lived experiences. And as a result of that, we look for that in the work that we do. We encourage our clients to do the same type of work to make sure that everyone from their team to the people that they serve, to the people that they show off on websites and social media, making sure that everyone feels welcome and affirmed and comfortable. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely the start of it. And then, being proactive about it. We now have to be proactive about putting people in these positions, hiring Black creators and Black professionals, and supporting these organizations, giving our time, giving our funds and our money if we can, signing petitions, making phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, all of these things are helpful. It's just basically silence isn't working. It's never worked. It doesn't serve us, as Audre Lorde said. Like, silence does not serve
Yeah,
us. So
I agree.
we all, including those that are in positions of privilege and power, need to be more proactive about making actionable change. Uh,
So to further that, how can these companies who are, maybe just now speaking up, who've never talked about inclusivity, who've never had a person of color, much less a Black person on their website, someone that we can connect with, how can they remain authentic, like in their marketing from today on? How can they be better companies and just be more inclusive?
You kind of got to start from the ground up. Well, top, bottom, ground up, I guess, whichever analogy you prefer. But
Yeah.
it really, so before we look at the messaging that we're putting out and
Mm-hmm.
copy on our websites and our email marketing and things like that, let's look at our core values first. Like, let's see, do you have a page that's all about diversity and your core values and how you guys are flexible and all these things on your site, but not
Mm-hmm.
actually live those core values? Because if so, your team knows it, definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And especially now when everyone is kind of feeling feelings are amplified and things are being brought to the light. Now is the time to really sit and look at if you are living those core values um, that you say you are. And then from there, of course, you can talking to your team, talking to
Mm-hmm.
um, the Black members of your team. If you don't have any Black members of your team, that's probably a problem in itself.
Right, you need to get some.
Yeah, like, if you don't have members on your team that are of Black experience or any other person of color, any queer people, disabled persons, um, any of these marginalized groups, if you don't have any of them even on your staff to have the conversations with, you're already in bad shape.
Okay, so it's
So
important to have those people at the table.
yeah, like, that starts. It really starts. It's easier to, the great work that you do and the services that you put out for people. It's great, and I'm sure it'd be even greater if it could reach more people. And a part of that would be making sure that everyone has a voice, everyone feels represented. We're not excluding anyone, um, and that we actually are amplifying the voices of those that are most often silenced. uh, it's our job. That's why I love the work that I do, because I get to advocate for um, people that normally don't have a voice in the room.
Right.
You and I get to, with the copywriting that you do, you get to kind of control the messaging and making sure that we're speaking to everyone. We're
Yeah.
not excluding anyone in our copy,
Mm-hmm.
on websites and in emails and in print materials. We're making sure that everyone feels welcome. And I think that's why it wouldn't be as easy if we all looked the same.
Yeah.
Came from the same place, same privileges, same. It wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be as authentic. So that's why it's really important to have those people in the room, um, and start doing that work internally. If you need help, there's always people to also help. We work with Desiree Adaway at the Adaway Group, and
Mm-hmm.
she does phenomenal work with DEI and getting organizations to where they should be, uh,
Yeah.
because it's a thing. It's no longer an option or something that you should do. It's now something that's necessary to exist in any industry.
I
And
agree.
yeah, now is the time to start. Well, yesterday was the time to start.
And it's not a trend. This is not something that is going to go out of style tomorrow. It's not going to go out of style next month. This is something that is, you have to stay consistent. These companies have to stay consistent in being supportive of their Black employees. And like you touched on earlier, we work for a company where we are able to express ourselves, and because we know what it feels like to be left out and to be marginalized and to feel like you're the only one in the room. So for these companies, like right now in this moment, how can they be supportive of their Black employees? What steps can they take to make sure that they're okay during this time?
I would say definitely, having those asking those questions, but not to the point where we are placing the burden or the onus on them. So it is not your Black employees, responsibility to educate you or uh, connect you with with resources and all. Like that's not. We have a lot already to on our plates, existing in our skin. So if anything, it's coming to them with compassion, being honest, being transparent, and being especially honest about your shortcomings, where you
Mm,
fall short, and coming with actionable items and way like tangible things that you plan to do to make change. I think the biggest thing is that like this isn't a trend. This is hopefully the new norm.
mhm.
I think that people will continue to call out companies that post Black Lives Matter hashtags and then never
Yeah.
any Black employees or Black
Mhm.
creators or Black stock photos featuring Black families.
Yeah.
I think that this isn't going away anytime soon. So now is the best time to start looking at your core values, looking at your content strategy, looking at your audience, and seeing acknowledging any of your own implicit biases that you may have. Um,
Yeah.
we as business owners and marketers, we set the tone for things,
Yeah.
and sometimes we don't realize that we come into it with our own biases
Yeah.
and our own judgments against people or groups of people,
Mhm.
and we can't make effective change that way. We
Yeah,
have to sit and
absolutely.
all look at what privileges we come with and what biases come along with that. So I think it's a lot of internal work. It's a lot of um, it's not easy work. It's not quick work. Um, but it's necessary work, and
Mhm.
now is the time to do it. So
So I love all of what you said. I definitely think it's putting action behind their words. Um, let's talk about that. So for these companies, do you want to read some of the steps that they can take to have tangible things in place, whether it's some kind of training or hiring more Black people? That's a step.
yeah, totally. So everything from hiring more Black people, people of color, queer people, disabled persons, all of that. Also, there are people that are creating, diversity and inclusion committees with people on their
Wow.
team that are Black people.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a team of 5 interns and like these are people that will love to be vocal, because
Yeah.
they're affected by it and their peers are affected
Mhm.
by it, and so getting those people to help you, it's okay. They have good ideas.
Mhm.
No one can tell you what we need more than us. So
Wow.
I think that uh, getting us together to actually have those conversations definitely comes into place. Making sure that you are, as you can, like I said, investing time and funds into supporting causes that go to the right things. So local organizations, um, and again, time or funds. It doesn't have to be either or, but employees will look to see um, what type of charitable efforts their organizations are supporting. That is how people these days choose loyalty and customer loyalty, and that is a thing. And
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
employees do the same thing. We do the same thing that customers do.
Right.
So doing that, of course, still investing in training for leadership, every member of the team, honestly, but especially leadership, because it always starts at the top. It starts
Yes.
with the people, everything from the way you interview to, I'm sorry, actually, the questions you ask before the even interview to the
Yeah.
way you
Wow.
interview to our, people's biases with regards to professionalism and respectability. A lot of those are rooted in white supremacy and prejudice. So even thinking
Yeah.
about those kinds of things and looking at some of those practices, um, there's a lot that can be done. The resources are out there. You just have to do the work and find them.
Mhm.
Um, your team can't do it for you, but now is the time to dig in and get it done.
I agree. We are not professors of this. We have not mastered, what it is to be a Black person. We are here with the skin that we are in, and we go to work just like everyone else. And I think it's so important, especially when you said the unconscious bias that we have, and that's why companies have trainings that are geared toward people recognizing something that they maybe didn't even know they had. I think that would be hugely beneficial to a company. So that's a really good point that you made there.
Yeah. So as you were just saying, and as we said at the beginning, the way I feel, the way you feel, all of these things are very specific to you. The Black experience is not a monolith. We all
Yeah.
we all feel things differently and deal with things differently and need different support. Which is why, again, it's just so important to have the conversations, even if they are uncomfortable,
Yeah.
especially if they are uncomfortable. And I think that like I said, it starts with the internal stuff. So what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing in your firm, and then, um, you know, filling all of that into your marketing and making sure that your marketing and your messaging and the way you work with your clients and your customers, the way you go about trying to find new leads for yourself. Are you excluding certain people based on
Mm-hmm.
biases that you may have? Starting to ask those tough questions, and then finding help if you need help. Like I said, again, we work with Desiree Attaway of the Attaway Group,
Mm-hmm.
and her team. That's literally, they do such a phenomenal job.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you can't do it yourself, if you need someone to come in and help you out, then that works too. But basically, we just wanted to, as to Black women that are actually in positions with voices where we can be heard, we thought it would be important to have this conversation, and we were willing to share it with others. Um, like I said, this is tough for everybody. So right now it's just all about compassion, um, actually making change, doing the work, and being supportive of your Black employees. Now it's time to, like, walk the walk and talk the talk. It's time to do both. So we hope you guys enjoyed this little conversation, this little open dialogue that we had. If you guys have any questions about ways that you can make sure that your messaging is consistent, your core values fit and feel right for you, shoot us a message. Like I said, I'm Jazz. I'll always be around. Keshonda is here as well, and any other member of our team. We'd love to help. We would love to help you guys out. I think that's basically it, though. I think we're done. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Let's do the work together. Let's get it done.
Yeah. All right.